The message played on a loop in my head, even as the train rattled through the pine-slick countryside. My 12-year-old son's voice, shaky, too calm to be normal, whispering, "Dad, something's wrong. Brent's here all the time now. Mom says he's her business partner, but he's scary. He said not to call you, but I had to. He said you were coming soon, and he laughed. He said they're gonna make sure you don't come back." I hadn't heard Theo's voice crack like that since he was a toddler. Not even when I left for Sudan. Not even when I said goodbye for what I thought might be the last time. He was a tough kid. A quiet kid. But that message? That was a cry for help. My name is Marcus Lorne. I'm 41. I've spent half my life in places where people kill each other for water and disappear for asking questions. And now I was on terminal leave, staring down the barrel of forced retirement, my body failing before my brain ever would. But none of that mattered, because someone was threatening my son. I was headed back to Merrow Creek, the little nothing town in Minnesota, where Marla and I bought a lakeside bed and breakfast, thinking it would fix our marriage. It hadn't. 2 years ago, I left the keys on the counter and flew out on assignment with a goodbye that was mostly silence. We hadn't talked much since. Our divorce was never finalized, just filed and stalled. I paid the bills. She ran the place. And Theo was stuck in the middle. Now she had a business partner named Brent, a name Theo said with a kind of weight kids aren't supposed to carry. The voice message came in 2 nights ago. By morning, I was calling in every favor I had. My CO didn't like it, but he approved the emergency leave. Probably figured I was gonna die anyway, so what did it matter? As the train pulled into the last rural station before Merrow Creek, I saw a beat-up black pickup idling by the far edge of the platform. The driver leaned against the hood, arms crossed, staring dead ahead like he was watching for ghosts. I recognized the stance before I saw the face. Levi Granger, old Corps buddy, sniper spotter, my right hand in Afghanistan, and now a trucker who still wore boots like he was clearing buildings. He didn't smile when he saw me. He just nodded once and said, "Got your message. Figured you'd need a ride." I tossed my bag in the bed and climbed in. "They're expecting me," I said. He handed me a burner phone and started the engine. "I know. That's why we're not going home the normal way." The tires spun in gravel as we pulled away from the station. I gripped the armrest, feeling the weight of my old sidearm pressing into my ribs under the jacket. The rules were different now. No uniforms, no command chain. Just me, Levi, and a boy waiting in the dark for someone to come rescue him, and God help whoever tried to stop me. We parked half a mile out and walked the rest under the cover of trees, Levi carrying bolt cutters and a black duffel bag. I had the sidearm holstered low and quiet, like old times. The house came into view slow and strange, sitting by the lake like a wound that never healed. It used to be white with blue trim. Marla had painted it burnt orange with black shutters, gave it the color scheme of a Halloween decoration. From the hill, we could see lights glowing through the curtains. Muffled music leaked out, something twangy and slow, not the kind of stuff Theo ever played. Shadows moved behind the front windows, not fast, but careless, like people who thought they had the whole place to themselves. "You sure you don't want me in with you?" Levi asked, crouched beside me behind the tree line. "No," I said. "You go around back. If I don't come out in 10, find Theo and get him out." Levi grunted. "Where?" "Linen closet upstairs. That's where he used to hide during storms." He didn't question it, just nodded once and slipped off like a ghost. I pulled my hood up and approached the front slowly, staying in the shadows. The porch creaked under my boots. That part hadn't changed. The front door wasn't locked. That part had. I pushed it open and stepped inside. The smell hit first. Wine, sweat, and stale weed. The kind of funk that settles into furniture and makes itself permanent. A laugh echoed from the kitchen, sharp and familiar. I moved through the living room, every muscle tight and waiting. Marla was standing barefoot by the kitchen island, a wine glass in one hand, the other playing with the hem of someone else's flannel shirt. It hung off her like a borrowed identity. Too big, too bold, nothing like the woman I married. She saw me and smiled without surprise. "Well, look what the desert dragged in." Her voice was looser than I remembered, glossy-eyed and sharp-edged. "Where's Theo?" I asked, flat. She sipped her wine. "Sleeping. Maybe. Kids stay up late these days, you know. Probably playing those little murder games on his tablet." I stepped closer. "Is Brent here?" She tilted her head like she was pretending to think. Brent's always here. This is his house now. Didn't you hear? Before I could speak again, a heavy clank hit the floor behind me. I turned. Brent stood in the doorway, all shoulders and broken teeth. He was barefoot too, wearing jeans with no shirt, crowbar dangling from one hand like it was part of him. His torso was covered in old scars and newer tattoos, jailhouse quality, crooked and loud. "Well, well," he said, dragging the crowbar once across the tile. "Look who came home to tuck his little soldier in." "You got 5 seconds," I said. "Put that down and walk out." He laughed full and slow. "You think you scare me, war boy? Marla told me all about you. Said you ran off to play mercenary and left her here with a broken heart and overdue bills. This is my place now. You're just a ghost." Marla laughed too, light and lazy. He always did like his dramatic exits. I stepped forward. Brent raised the crowbar and grinned. "Go ahead," he said. "Make me?" So I did. Brent swung first. Big mistake. He came in wide, thinking he could overwhelm me with brute force. That's what men like him always counted on, being louder, meaner, heavier. But I'd fought men with bombs strapped to their chests and nothing to lose. Brent was just a drunk with a crowbar and a fragile ego. I ducked the swing, stepped in close, and slammed my elbow into his throat. He gagged, stumbled back. Before he could recover, I drove my fist into his kidney, twice, and swept his legs out from under him. The crowbar clanged to the floor. Brent landed hard on his back, gasping, trying to roll over. I didn't give him the chance. I pinned him with a knee to the chest and pressed my forearm against his throat. Not enough to crush it, just enough to remind him he wasn't in control anymore. "I'll ask one time," I said, low and calm. "Where's my son?" He made a strangled noise, coughed. "Upstairs," he wheezed. "Closet or something. I don't know, man. He hides. Crazy little shit." I hit him once more, just enough to knock the wind out of him, then stood up. Marla had backed up to the counter, wine glass still in hand. She looked bored, more than afraid. "You done playing hero?" she asked. "You always liked that role. Still fits, I guess. Little tighter now." I ignored her and grabbed Brent by the collar, dragged him through the living room like a sack of trash, and dropped him at the base of the stairs. "Don't move," I said, "or I'll make sure you don't again." He groaned, curling into himself like a kicked dog. Footsteps padded down the stairs a second later. Levi appeared with Theo bundled in a hoodie, the boy's eyes wide, his face pale and still. "I got him," Levi said. "He was right where you said." Theo looked at me like he wasn't sure if I was real. "Dad?" I knelt down, one hand on his shoulder. "Yeah, kiddo, I'm here. You okay?" He nodded once, but his lower lip trembled. "He said he was going to hurt you if you came back. Said you were already dead." I looked over my shoulder at Brent, still groaning. "He was wrong." Levi gently tugged Theo toward the door. "We're going to your grandma's," he said. "It's safe there. She's waiting." Theo looked back at me as Levi opened the door. "You're coming too, right?" "Soon," I said. "I just have to clean up some mess." He hesitated, then nodded. Levi gave me a look, the kind that said, "Don't take too long," and disappeared into the night with my son. When the door clicked shut, I turned to Marla. She hadn't moved. She was staring at me like I was a stranger who broke into her dream. "You know," she said, voice cold and bitter. "You left this place. You left us. Don't act like some goddamn savior now." I walked past her, picked up the wine glass from her hand, and set it on the counter. "You didn't need saving," I said. "Theo did, and you fed him to wolves." She laughed short and joyless. "Brent's not a wolf. He's a man, a real one. He stayed. He kept me warm while you were out chasing shadows in the sand." I looked at her, really looked at her. The empty eyes, the wine-stained lips, the sagging weight of bad choices catching up all at once. "I didn't leave you," I said. "You left yourself." And then I walked out. The house was quiet after Levi left with Theo. No music, no yelling. Just the low creak of old floorboards and Marla's breathing somewhere behind me. I didn't rush. I walked through the place slow, past the chipped paint on the hallway walls, the crooked photo of our wedding still hanging by the bathroom door. It all looked smaller than I remembered, shrunk down by time and shame. Marla was in the living room when I got back, curled up on the couch like she lived there, like nothing had happened. "You want to file a report or something?" she said without looking at me. Or maybe you'd rather just kick me out tonight and call it a mission accomplished. I didn't sit. I stood there until she finally looked up. I'm filing for custody, I said. Tomorrow morning. My lawyer already has the paperwork, she snorted, reaching for a cigarette from the tin on the coffee table. Right, so what? You're gonna drag us through court now? That's rich coming from the guy who vanished for a living. I held out the manila envelope. Read it. She took it like it was trash, flipped through the pages with a dramatic sigh, until she got to the photos. Her face changed. Theo was asleep on the hallway floor beside the front door, hugging a backpack like a shield. Snapshots from the nanny cam I'd installed years ago and forgot about, until last week. Video stills showing Brent counting cash, waving around a crowbar in front of the kid, yelling. I didn't speak. I let the evidence speak for me. She flipped to the next page, logs of text messages. A screenshot of her joking about Marcus's military pension, paying for tequila and tampons in some group chat. Bank withdrawals she thought I wouldn't notice. Small amounts, slowly siphoned from our joint account, even after I left. Her hands started shaking. This is all out of context, she mumbled. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You're drunk in most of it, high in some, and reckless in all. You want to talk context? Talk to a judge. Her eyes went flat. You're doing this because I moved on. No, I said. I'm doing this because Theo deserves better than growing up thinking chaos is normal. I'm doing this because you gave up on being a parent the second you brought a thug into this house and called him family. She threw the folder at me. It hit the floor with a slap, papers spilling everywhere. You self-righteous bastard! I didn't flinch. She stood up, and for a second her mask cracked. Her face went red, her hands curled into fists. You think he's gonna love you more after this? You think you can just take him away and he won't hate you for it? I walked over, picked up the folder piece by piece, slow and quiet, then looked her dead in the eye. He already knows who kept him safe. She slapped me, not hard, not even unexpected, just one of those hollow, desperate swipes people take when they're out of words. I didn't move, I didn't speak. She stood there, panting, the taste of her own fear finally registering. You have 48 hours, I said. Pack what's yours and get out. You come near Theo without a lawyer, you'll answer to the cops. She laughed, bitter and cracked. He'll hate you one day. I nodded once. Maybe, but at least he'll be alive to do it. And then I turned my back on her, for the last time. I left the house at first light. The lake was still, fog curling off the water like smoke. I stood there for a while, breathing in the silence, trying to believe this place could be mine again, that it could be something other than a battleground. Then I made the call. Vic. A gravelly voice answered on the third ring. Didn't expect to hear from you again, soldier. Didn't expect to call. I've got a situation. There was a pause. Is it Marla? Marla and more. Her boyfriend's a threat, brought others in. They're not just freeloaders, they're the type that disappear when things get too quiet. Another beat of silence. Then, you want this handled loud or clean? Clean, I said. No drama, just gone. I'll be there in an hour. Vic hadn't changed. He used to do demolition with my old man, back before Merrow Creek put up its pretty lake brochures and forgot it was a working town. Vic didn't do paperwork, he did favors, and people remembered that. By mid-morning, 3 trucks rolled up the gravel drive, unmarked, windows tinted, nothing flashy. The kind of men who didn't make eye contact in public, didn't leave messes behind. They moved fast, quiet. Brent and his crew, 2 others, one of them always with a toothpick, were gone before the sun hit the porch. No screaming, no sirens, just an empty parking spot and a front door swinging gently in the breeze. I watched from the hill. Vic stood beside me, a toothpick of his own bobbing between his teeth. They won't be back, I nodded. Appreciate it? You should have called me sooner, he said. Your dad would have. I didn't answer that, just shook his hand and watched him drive off. Back at the house, I did a sweep, top to bottom. Brent's stuff was gone, except for a few broken hangers and an empty duffel that smelled like mold and weed. I took my time checking every drawer, every closet, every crawl space. And that's when I found it. A tiny black lens tucked under the porch bench. Not mine. Not professionally installed either. But someone had wired it to a portable drive hidden beneath the slats. I brought it inside, connected it to my laptop. Most of the footage was garbage, days of shadows and porch traffic, until I found one clip, time-stamped 2 weeks ago. Brent pacing on the porch with a beer in one hand and a pistol holster slung over his shoulder. "They say he's coming home," he muttered, laughing to someone off screen. "Good. He's got that war money stashed somewhere. We clean him out, scare the kid a little, and disappear. Simple." Then a voice, Marla's. "Just make sure he doesn't get smart. I'm tired of scraping by on army checks." That was enough. I copied the files, uploaded backups, and sent everything to Garza, my lawyer, audio, video, timestamps. I included one clip of Marla on the phone, joking, "Well, Marcus's pension paid for our bar tabs again." "Thanks, War Daddy," Garza texted back 5 minutes later. "This is gold. Sit tight. I'm moving on it." For the first time in days, I smiled. Not because I felt safe, but because now I had proof. Detective Ashby leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, eyes narrowed like he was trying to see through me. "You telling me that woman laughed about using your war pension for booze?" I slid the phone across the desk. "It's all on there. Audio, video. She wasn't whispering either." He picked up the phone, tapped the screen, and listened. Marla's voice came through, smug, slurred, and unmistakably clear. "Well, Marcus's pension paid for our bar tabs again. Thanks, War Daddy." He winced. Jesus! Ashby was one of the few cops I trusted in Merrow Creek, ex-Army, like me. We weren't friends, but we shared a language. His uniform still fit like he didn't know how to take it off. Same with the way he carried himself. Alert, grounded, coiled. The guy never blinked without a reason. "I've got more," I said, opening the second file. Camera under the porch picked up Brent talking about emptying my accounts and scaring the kid a little. Said they'd disappear once I was out of the picture. Ashby didn't say anything for a long time. He just listened, his jaw slowly tightening. "Where's the kid now?" he asked when the recording ended. "With my mother," I said. "Across town. She knows how to keep things quiet." He nodded. "Good. He's safer there than in the system." He flipped open his notebook and started writing. "What about the guy Brent was talking to in that video?" "Unidentified. Likely one of the 2 men Vic cleared out this morning. I don't have names yet." Ashby looked up at that. "Vic?" "Yeah," he smirked. "You always did know how to make problems disappear." "Not disappear," I said. "Just exit quietly." He scribbled a few more notes and stood. "You bringing all this to Garza?" "Already did. She's filing for emergency custody today. And a restraining order. We're going full bore." "Good," he said. "Because what I'm looking at is child endangerment, home invasion, financial fraud. Hell, you might even have enough for conspiracy." "Will it stick?" Ashby nodded slowly. "If that video holds up in court, and it will, then yeah, it sticks." By the time I got to Garza's office an hour later, she was already in motion. The moment I stepped through the door, she handed me a stack of papers, fresh off the printer. "Emergency custody petition is filed," she said, sharp and focused. "Restraining order's been fast-tracked, and we're submitting a criminal complaint against Marla and Brent today." She sat behind her desk like a general in the middle of a war map. Everything was color-coded, labeled, tabbed. Her glasses rode low on her nose, but her eyes never missed a beat. "This is going to get messy," she said, "but you're not the one in trouble. Brent's going to jail tonight. You'll have full custody by the end of the week. Just keep Theo out of it," I said. "I'll do my best," she replied, "but they're going to try to spin it, paint you as the absentee, the soldier who left." "They can try," I said, "but Theo knows the truth now." Garza paused, looked at me a moment longer, then nodded. "You're doing the right thing, Marcus." That night, Brent was picked up by county police just outside of town. He was in the back of someone else's truck, half drunk, with a stolen 9mm tucked under the seat and a gym bag full of oxycodone. No prescription, no paperwork, no idea where he was going. Under questioning, he cracked within the hour, told them everything, said Marla knew, said she was in on it from the beginning, said she told him where I kept my backup cash, said she laughed when he joked about giving Theo a little scare. Ashby called me personally. "She's going down with him," he said. "We've got the confession on tape." And just like that, the tide turned. For the first time in years, the system was on my side. Levi's truck pulled up just after sunset. The tires crunched softly in the gravel, and the porch light buzzed on, as if the house knew who it was waiting for. I stepped outside and watched as Theo climbed out of the passenger seat, clutching a bundle of things close to his chest. His sketch pad, a half-read comic book, and that old plush hawk he used to drag everywhere as a toddler. He looked smaller than I remembered. Not physically, just quieter, like something inside him had folded in half. Levi gave me a nod and didn't say much, just patted Theo on the back and whispered, "You're home now, kiddo," before climbing back into the truck. He pulled away slow, respectful, like he knew we needed this moment undisturbed. Theo stood there on the steps, eyes darting between me and the door. "You okay if we just hang out tonight?" I asked. "No big talks, just you and me." He nodded. Inside, the place was clean again, the windows open, letting the stale air out. The remnants of chaos had been scrubbed away. Brent's boots, Marla's wine glasses, the scent of something rotten beneath the couch cushions. All gone. I microwaved a bowl of mac and cheese, the kind Theo always liked, the extra fake kind with the shiny orange powder, and poured him a glass of apple juice. He sat on the couch in his pajamas, legs folded underneath him, comic book open, but untouched. I put on one of those old sci-fi movies we used to watch, the ones with rubber aliens and explosions that looked like fireworks. Theo didn't laugh, but he smiled once when a robot tried to fight a toaster. That was enough for now. Halfway through the movie, he set the comic book aside and curled up against my side. Just leaned in, like it was the most natural thing in the world. I put my arm around him and didn't say a word. No questions, no lectures, just warmth and quiet. After he fell asleep on the couch, I carried him up to his room and tucked him in. The sheets still had the space pattern he picked out when he was 9. His bookshelf hadn't been touched, his name still written in thick marker on the inside of the closet door. Back downstairs, I went to the safe under the stairwell, the fireproof one I installed last year and never really used. I placed the USB drive, the backup footage, the signed lawyer documents, all of it inside, locked it. We weren't done yet, but we were safe, and for now, that was enough. Marla arrived late the next morning, wearing oversized sunglasses and a pout like it was armor. The sheriff's deputy met her at the edge of the driveway. I watched from the porch as she got out of a lift, not her usual flashy entrance. She looked confused at first, then angry, then confused again when she saw the deputy waiting with a clipboard and a yellow envelope in hand. He said her name. She rolled her eyes. When he handed over the documents, her posture stiffened. Her voice carried, sharp and brittle. "You've got to be kidding me." She tore open the envelope right there, flipping through the paperwork like she could reverse the words by skimming fast enough. Her sunglasses slid down her nose. I saw her eyes, bloodshot, panicked. "You served me?" she yelled, marching up the path now. "You really did this, Marcus?" I didn't get up. I sipped my coffee and let her come to me. She stopped at the steps, breathing heavy, holding the documents like they were proof the universe had betrayed her. "You filed for full custody. A restraining order? You're throwing me out of my own house?" "It's not your house," I said calmly. "It's Theo's home, and you're not welcome here anymore." She scoffed. "I don't even get to say goodbye to my own son?" I stood then, not fast, not loud, just enough to make her step back. "You said goodbye the second you brought criminals into this house. The second you let that man scare our kid. You gave up your rights, Marla. You just didn't realize it yet." She shook her head, blinking hard, mouth moving like she was trying to summon the right combination of words to undo it all. "I was overwhelmed," she snapped. "You left. You don't get to judge me for what I had to do to keep things running." "Running?" I asked. "Theo hid in a closet to survive. You drank wine while a felon counted my money on the porch. Don't talk to me about survival." Her face twisted. "You always think you're better. Just because you went off to war and played soldier doesn't make you a saint." "No," I said, "but it makes me a father." She laughed, bitter and hollow. "You think he'll love you for this? For keeping him away from me?" "He already does," I said. "He just forgot for a while." She looked away, biting her lip. Then she straightened up, pulled the sunglasses back over her eyes, and adjusted her purse strap like it made her taller. "Well," she said, "he'll hate you one day. You can count on that." "Maybe," I said, finishing my coffee. "But I'll be there when he doesn't." I handed her the suitcase Levi had packed. Just essentials. No more than what she came with. The Lyft driver opened the trunk. Marla glared at me, then at the house, then at the deputy, as if someone might still stop this from being real. No one did. She got in the car, slammed the door, didn't look back. I watched until the taillights disappeared down the hill, then stepped back inside and locked the door behind her. The email came through just after breakfast. Subject: custody motion. Approved. I stared at the screen for a long moment before it sank in. The judge had ruled in our favor. Full custody. Immediate. No visitation. No loopholes. It was done. I printed the document and placed it beside Theo's cereal bowl like it was any other piece of morning mail. He looked at it, eyes squinting at the bold letters. "What's this?" "It means you live here now," I said. "All the time." His spoon froze halfway to his mouth. "No more back and forth." "No more." He didn't say anything, but he smiled. Just a little. Enough to tell me he understood. Later that day, Ashby called with the other half of the news. "She's getting charged," he said. "Brent's confession, the footage, your lawyer's timeline, it's airtight. Fraud, child endangerment, conspiracy. We're building the case now. Do you need anything else from me? Just stay reachable," he said. "This one's going to court, but you're sitting in the right seat." I thanked him, hung up, and stared out the kitchen window at Theo in the backyard. He was drawing again, legs crossed in the grass, sketch pad propped against his knees. The dog, an old mutt we rescued 3 years ago, was snoring beside him in the sun. I walked to the fireplace and grabbed the small cedar box Marla had left behind years ago. Inside, old photos, a letter I never read, a pair of earrings she used to wear when she cared about looking nice. I threw the whole thing in the fire, watched it burn. No ceremony, no dramatic music. Just quiet flames eating away the pieces of a life we'd already left behind. The letters curled first. Then the pictures blackened and split. Then the earrings popped, the fake gold coating bubbling in the heat. I stood there until it was nothing but ash. Theo came inside a few minutes later, smelling like grass and pencil lead. "What was that?" he asked, nodding toward the fireplace. "Just old stuff," I said. "Didn't need it anymore." He sat down on the rug and opened his sketch pad, flipped past pages of monsters, robots, and half-drawn faces until he found a blank sheet. Then he looked up. "Can I draw us?" I blinked. "Us? Yeah, like now, not before. Just us now." I nodded slowly. "Sure, that'd be nice." He started with quick lines, chewing the edge of the pencil the way he always did when he was focused. I sat on the couch nearby, letting the sound of his pencil scratching fill the room. Outside, the wind stirred the trees. Inside, there was peace. And for the first time since I stepped off that train, I let myself believe we might be okay. Not just safe, but free. The sun came up without tension, no distant arguing, no doors slamming, no heavy boots stomping across the porch, just birdsong and the soft rustle of trees bending in the wind. I stood barefoot in the kitchen, coffee in hand, watching the sunlight spill across the floorboards. It lit the house in a way I hadn't seen in years. Honest, unfiltered. The walls looked less tired. The corners weren't hiding shadows anymore. Theo padded in quietly, still in his Star Wars pajama pants, hair a wild mess. He blinked up at me like he wasn't sure if he was allowed to be this relaxed. "Morning," I said, pouring him juice. He sat at the counter, rubbing his eyes. Is everything really okay now?" I looked at him for a moment, no hesitation, no dancing around it. "They already are," I said. He didn't smile big, just nodded, like he believed me now. After breakfast, he grabbed the leash and whistled for the dog. I followed him outside with my coffee. We sat on the porch together, watching the mutt nose through the bushes at the edge of the yard. The lake shimmered, not still, but calm, the way it used to be. My phone buzzed. Garza, court date confirmed, custody finalized, case locked. I read it twice, then locked the screen and slid it into my pocket. Theo was drawing again, legs stretched out across the porch steps. He'd started a new page, just the outline of a man and a boy sitting side by side, staring out at something bigger than themselves. He didn't ask for input, didn't show it off. He just kept drawing. And for once, I didn't feel like I had to fill the silence. Later, we'd deal with whatever came next. The trial, the press, the final wave of legal fallout. But not today. Today there was no front to hold, just sunlight through clean windows, a safe house, a kid who wasn't hiding in a closet. I reached down and gave the dog a lazy scratch behind the ears, then lean back and let the quiet carry us. This wasn't peace the way people romanticized it. This was real peace, earned, bruised, built back from splinters. And this time, no one was going to take it from us. We had a new beginning, not perfect, but ours.